good question. So, what's the nice thing we can get this when I'm through this day, I'm going to come back this yeah, exactly. What about yours? Yeah. Where does she live? Oh, right. Oh, well, that's quite good then. Very envious. Yes, because you can't sort of tell them off like you used to. So you could try. I'm fed up with it. Yeah, no, I know. Well, I'm lucky. I've got my nephew who lives in my spot. So he's the nearest to me. And he's using what farm.
Okay, so we're going to kick off the formalities now. Thank you everybody so much for coming today, and I'm so glad the weather held because it was looking a bit dodgy yesterday, so it's great to have the sun shining. We're just delighted as a parish council to have partnered with the Airfields Britain Conservation Trust, represented here by their founder and trustee Kenneth Bannerman. The Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust supplied the monument here, and through lots of local efforts we prepared this area here. If you want to make a contribution to the work of the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust, then if you go to their website abct.org.uk, then you can do that to help them with their programme of airfield memorials. I'd like to start with a few thank yous. Firstly to Airfields Britain Conservation Trust for the monument and for taking the initiative to have a monument here. I wanted also to thank Grant Perry and Heron Farms. I don't know if Grant's here today, but he is. He's over at the back there. Hello, Grant. Grant, thank you so much for allowing us to use this part of your land for the siting of the memorial. We're so thrilled with that 'cause it's got great high visibility from the roadside, and of course it's at the end of the perimeter track. There's a danger in highlighting other people, but I did want to mention Stuart Bosworth, Bernard Green, Tom Gooday, and others that helped prepare this area, because it was quite a big job, and it was a real team effort. So thank you very much to those people. And a particular thanks also to Chris Warren, who is here today, and he helped, or he organised the military vehicle owners who have come out today. Thank you, vehicle owners, for coming and bringing your vehicles. It just gives such a lovely backdrop for the occasion. That's fantastic. So thank you, Chris. And thanks also to Chris for contacting RAF Mildenhall and RAF Lakenheath for the US Air Force Honour Guard. We're deeply indebted to them for coming today to make this such a special occasion. There were 124 airmen that lost their lives while serving here. So it's a fitting tribute to those that we have the US Air Force Air Refuelling Wing and the Fighter Wing from Mildenhall and Lakenheath respectively. And then a little bit later they'll be doing the formalities there. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to hand over now to Kenneth Bannerman, who's going to say a few words before we do the unveiling. Kenneth.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for attending. So just to give you a quick potted history of this airfield and why this matters in the big picture, if I can put it that way. Chipping Ongar, semi-officially also known as Willingale Airfield, was a mid-war World War II bomber airfield, and it was transferred to American control and opened, at least in a general sense, opening and closing dates, as I've indicated to David and his wife, an absolute nightmare to research, really incredibly difficult. But in a general sense anyhow, Chipping Ongar Airfield opened in June 1943, and almost immediately Martin B-26 Marauder medium bombers of the 387th Bomber Bombardment Group quickly arrived here. And over the next year and a little bit further, they carried out tremendous work in tactical bombing duties. So this was going right through to D-Day, the invasion of Normandy and beyond. And inevitably there were some losses, though thankfully not too bad, but they played a very major part alone in helping to win World War II. Come July 1944, the bomb group relocated to Stony Cross Airfield in Hampshire in the New Forest. Now, as I've indicated to David, Chipping Ongar is one of these airfields that is remarkably difficult to research. Now, I'm also a writer on the subject as well as being the head of the charity. But from my own combined research and to do with the charity, from what we can discern thereafter, the Americans remained until the early months of 1945, and there was what was called an air disarmament unit there that even to this day, by all accounts, seems a little bit, shall we say, shadowy in terms of what it actually did. But from what we can discern, after the invasion of occupied Europe by the Allies, they were capturing, assessing, and then, if need be, disposing of German, especially Luftwaffe aircraft and equipment. Needless to say, it's a subject that still needs to be researched. But that was very important on its own. Then there were various command changes and organisation changes in the closing months of World War II. And then notably RAF Bomber Command was at least technically involved before in turn another RAF Command Technical Training Command came into play. And there were certainly connections with legendary Battle of Britain Airfield North Weald, not that far from here. Now the story took a strange turn in one sense, because maybe not altogether acknowledge this, but Chipping Ongar after World War II, albeit for just really a couple of years, became quite a major civil as opposed to military airfield. And this involved the Strait Aircraft Corporation. This was headed by a now sadly rather forgotten gentleman called Whitney Strait, who was quite a famous pilot, notably before World War II. So he ran essentially this combined operation. It was a civilian flying training school that trained in particular foreign air crew, like for example Indian nationals, and then added to that there was a flying club called the Home Counties Flying Club. So this carried on into 1948. The airfield certainly closed in that year, at least in a flying capacity. This is one of the perils, if you'll pardon me saying so, of relying upon Wikipedia. Now, I'm not being accidentally critical in any way here, of course, but if you see Wikipedia, just by way of example, they say that Chipping Ongar Airfield closed in 1959. Now, without getting too, shall we say, pedantic here, that was when the airfield was relinquished as opposed to closed. Big difference. So it really closed in 1948, possibly in the autumn. But as you'll see with the memorial, we go to extraordinary lengths to try and get the exact dates, but we also have to exercise a significant amount of caution. So since then, a lot of the airfield has sadly disappeared. But this place was, is, and always will be, as with all of our airfields, whether active or disused, phenomenally relevant and important to all of us in our everyday lives. Whether airfields are active or disused, suffice to say that we just cannot afford to lose our airfields in our everyday lives, whether it's work or play, even right down to, for example, our health. That is how important our airfields are. So as we say during our travels, we can only respectfully say to you that within reason, please do all you can to help save, protect and support our airfields, plus also not forgetting all the incredibly brave people here who have served here over the years, and not forgetting their families. It's the very least that they deserve, and that's just one major way in which we can help them. So please do everything you possibly can, because just always remember, by helping our airfields and everyone associated with them, you're helping yourselves. It is that simple, not to mention provable. So again, thank you very much, and I'll now just pass you over to Mr. Alex Burkhardt. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. Thank you for the work that your organisation does to preserve local and national history across the country. I was a history teacher. One of the jobs I did before I went into politics was as a history teacher, and so it's an enormous pleasure for me to be coming here today to help you unveil this memorial. And David's already thanked a lot of the people involved, but I just want us to spend a moment thinking about the men who were stationed here in the 1940s. Young men who had left their home, I think in Kentucky, and probably left their country for the very first time to come to a war zone and put themselves right on the front of one of the most important conflicts that the world has ever known. Willingale may not be the centre of the universe these days, although I've often said it would be the greatest village in the world if it had a pub. But back in the mid-40s, back in 1943, it effectively was the centre of the world, because the people who flew missions from here were readying northern France for the D-Day invasions, on which the whole of the rest of modern history depended. So I'd like to spend just a second paying tribute to those young men, many of whom gave their lives to make sure that we have had the lives that we've had. When I was at school, I learnt a poem about airmen by W.B. Yeats. I'll just give you the last verse of it now, if I can remember it. It's called An Irishman Foresees His Death. Nor law nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years to come seemed waste of breath the years behind. In balance with this life, this death.
Thank you very much, and therefore it is with great pleasure, and we're really honoured to do this, for Mr. Burkhardt and myself on behalf of the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust to unveil what is now our 206th memorial. We've got hundreds lined up in years to come. We're going as fast as we can with this, to in this case, the one and only, the truly irreplaceable Shipping Ongar, also known as Willingale Airfield. Thank you very much.
One, two, three. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
That's brilliant.
Just stand here. Right, and we're now privileged to have the US Honour Guard who are going to now come with the flags and perform the Honour Guard ceremony. If you could make a bit of space then to come round behind you and then in through the gateway, that'd be terrific. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh! Freeze and push! There's ready to. Hold. Push! Colours. Step. Hold.
I'm now going to invite Jamie McIver, our County Councillor, to lay a wreath at the monument, after which the Reverend Stuart Gibbs will offer prayer dedication.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all those who served in this place, in the service of freedom. We remember them with grateful hearts, particularly the 124 people who died. May this memorial be of importance to their memory and our communities in the years to come. Bless their memories and bless us all. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
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 We'll just have a moment of silence before we proceed. And the US Air Force Honour Guard will now perform the flag ceremony. Thank you. Okay, let's be silent for the flag ceremony. Thank you.
Honor guard. Halt.
On behalf of the President of the United States Air Force, and our grateful nation, please accept this flag as a token of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
Well, needless to say, I'm deeply honoured to accept this on behalf of Willingale in memory of the airmen that served here. So we thank the US Air Force greatly for this. This will form a really interesting and important exhibit in the village archives in the years to come. So that marks the end of the formalities today. My special thanks to my wife Dawn for putting together the archive display that you see over there, and also to Alan Crouchman and others that provided valuable input and material for that. So please do take some time to look at the exhibits there and learn a bit more about this amazing airfield. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Alex, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's quite good then. Oh.